You too can join the Vienna Boys Choir. I don't know much about this ninja shit, but I do know how to fight dirty.
Magic friends.
Hello.
Today I wanted to originally teach you an effect using a double back card you can make at home. And I was originally going to put the way to peel and stick a double back card properly into my tutorial. And then I thought, what a nightmare, right? Nobody wants that anymore. There's enough of that shit on YouTube. So let me rather go into sleight of hand, because it seems that nobody really is doing much of that. Now, when I say sleight of hand, I mean when you don't heavily rely on massive angles to get it right. I'm talking about workable, decent sleight of hand that you can do surrounded. You don't have to hear the, well, you can't stand there and a person can't stand there. No one can stand this side of you, but it's okay if someone's on the left. Huh? So today I thought I'd teach you a surefire card vanish that I always use that you can do surrounded. Wow, how different is that? Anyway, let me get into the effect of it. Basically, it's a type of Erdnase style vanish, but it's very visual. Here's a performance of it. I must warn you that I had to go to a really rough neighborhood to film this, to make it interesting, to make my videography on my broken phone incredibly interesting. So here it is. Alright, now that's great. Let's get into the tutorial. I do have to say there is an easier way of doing it, which I actually prefer for sort of pseudo gambling explanations. You say, look, I'm palming the card, but look, if I just do this, then the card vanishes. There are easier methods of doing this particular vanish. The first visual one that will take more practice, but in essence, the card ends up second from the top. Now, everyone knows the Erdnase color change. The color change that sort of looks like this. If you go like that, and then you change the card, remember? Now, the Erdnase color change basically is pushing the top card over, and then with the bases of your fingers, pulling the second card out until it clears that card. Then as you push this card back in, you sort of do the color change like that. That's the Erdnase color change. Now, the way this particular vanish works is sort of the same thing, but a little bit easier because you put it in the right position to start, where you can get a lot of the card with this part of your hand, which is essentially what you're doing. So you're pulling this part of the next card out with this part of your hand. Now you've got to know where it would be so that your fingers cover the whole card as you pull it out. You pull it out and you clear it, and then you push it until the sort of like the heel of your hand, for lack of a better word, would touch the back of the deck. Then you're careful to rotate your hand like this. Don't rotate your hand like this and flash the second card. That would be disastrous. So you just be careful when you rotate your hand. Pull it back as far as you're comfortable with. Then as you slowly do this with your fingers, this finger just comes in and pushes it flush with the pack. So basically, when you're from there, you come there. And don't be afraid in the beginning to go extra slowly so that you can time it and you can see where your hand needs to be before your finger comes out. Because the scary thing is, if you flash this finger, the game is up. So if you do, it doesn't matter how well you do the first bit, if you do this, they're gonna know exactly what's going on. So that's what makes the first one so difficult. I would say though, what makes it easier is the further back you put it, the easier it is to push back with this finger, but it's not so easy to do the hand rotation in that way, because then you sort of have to cover the card when you turn your hand, if that makes any sense. So if you want to do the hand rotation version, you're going to have two difficulties. It's going to be this finger reaching out very far, and it's going to be the turning over of the hand in order to make it sort of look natural. Okay, so that's the first way. So let's go over it again. You put it about 1/3 away from the edge of the pack. You pull the second card out like this until it clears. You square the pack with the back of your palm like this, and then you turn your hand. Careful not to flash the second card as you turn the hand, and then as you slowly go over the cards, you find the right point, which is usually about here for me, where it's between these two fingers, the edge of the pack. Then as I go, don't pull the finger too early. As I do this, as I get to that position, that's when I push it in and finish the change. The timing to get it smooth, because you don't want to do the change like this. You want to do it in one movement. Anyway, the second way of doing it, it's a little bit easier, but not that much easier, but it's a lot easier because it provides a lot of cover for this finger. So you take it, you do it the same way, except this time you say, watch the card, what I'm going to do, keep an eye on the card, I'm going to grab it. And as you reach over, your fingers are so far over this end. That's why I like using this variation, because your fingers are so far over this end. It provides cover all around the table that you're performing at, okay? And then you say, okay, I'm going to take off the card. You don't have to use the word palming. I think you would just say, I'm going to hide it in my hand. And then if I rub it on the table, I do that. I've done lots of different variations on this particular idea. I say, keep an eye on the card till the last second. Did you see how quickly I could pick it up? Of course you didn't. You know, there's so many different variations you can use when it comes to this particular Vanish. Now you're probably wondering, where do I go with this? How do I clean it up? How do I finish the trick? Well, there's a few ways you could actually finish the trick, okay? I'm going to give you a couple of options. You could use whichever you like, or you can ditch them all and only use the Vanish in a routine of your own. But one of the ways you can get a break underneath the top two cards, right? Get a break underneath the top two cards. Then you do a double undercut. If you don't know what a double undercut is, please go and learn it. It's a very basic move. I am not your mommy. Okay? So the double undercut will bring the face-up card to the bottom of the pack if you do it with the break under the top two cards to start with, right? So now you can basically do a bottom palm and go into a card to pocket. That's a way of getting out of it and say, oh, it vanished and appeared into my pocket. Then you go into a card to pocket routine. This Vanish establishes credibility straight away, whichever way you decide to do it. I would recommend this way because it does beat the rubber dub Vanish. You know, the rubber dub Vanish does look nice and everything, but I actually just prefer this. To me, it leaves time for you to play with them a bit. You know, it leaves time for them to really be sure that it's in your hand before you actually show it's empty. Anyway, so like I said, you can do a double undercut, right, which brings the face-up card on the bottom, and then you go into a card to pocket, and then go from there. Or there's another way you could do it, which is actually quite a sneaky thing. If you know how to do the pass, but you've got to know how to do the pass quite well, you start off like this. What you do is you only get a break underneath the top card. Then you do 1/2 of a double undercut, which will make the break appear above the face-up card, if you can see it there. Okay, so then you say, I know that this isn't your card, but if I blow on it, then it turns into your card. And then you've done sort of like a color change type of effect. And what's beautiful about that is it pretty much, you pretty much clean except for the one face-up card in the middle of the pack. But if you want to just do a quick trick, that's a way you can do it, and then you can just retrieve this card later, or you can remember the card and then force it on someone else and have that card turn face up. You know, the options are limitless. You really just have to think for yourself. Now, the last, gee, I was a bit rough there, but a bit fucking rough with my cards. Now, I personally use this particular Vanish for my card underbox routine, but I'm not going to go into that now. But there's another way you can get out of it. If you like using the Mercury card fold for any type of particular revelation, like out of the shoe or out of a ring box or whatever, out of a wallet folded and signed, it's a nice way of doing it. Now, it's the same as the first. Break under the top 2 cards. Okay, now however you want to achieve the break is fine. You can use the Jean you got click count, you could use a pinky count, but please, for God's sake, don't do this, because everyone's going to be watching the pack at that stage. You can't count like that and get away with it in this particular effect. So please go and learn a pinky count. I like to use the Jean you got click count, but whatever you like to use, you can get it in the Expert Card Technique, Jean Ugard and Frederick Brau, B-R-A-U-E. Anyway, that's a shameless plug for dead people. Anyway, so that brings the card to the bottom. You get a break under the top 2 cards, double undercut. Now your card's on the bottom. What's brilliant about it is it's on the bottom face up. So when you do a Mercury card fold, when you actually do the fold, okay, which shouldn't look as shitty as that, when you actually do the fold, it's brilliant because the fold is face inwards. I've always liked to do the fold on a face down pack instead of doing it on a face up pack. I don't know, for some reason, whenever I see people burn me when the pack's face up, because they expect me to be looking through the pack for some reason, and then they like burning me, and you know, the Mercury fold is not done while they're watching. You don't do it while they're watching. You do it when there's a relaxing concentration. But if you like to do that, then this Vanish is ideal, because you vanish the card, you do 2 cuts, then you ask them if they'd like to see something incredible, or you know, would they be shocked if, and then while they're busy answering you, you do the fold, but you've got to wait for that moment to create that moment that they're relaxing their attention in order to do the fold. But I find that asking them a question like, do you know where that card is? And then they'll look at me, and then that's the moment where you do it. And then they'll say it's in the packet of the whatever, you go into your whatever way you want to reveal. And that's that. And, you know, I must admit, it was fun filming in a dangerous neighborhood, except for the wind.